Just to introduce myself, so my name is Sam Connor. So I'm part of the sales engineer team here at Interface, and we're a Bitrix24 Gold partner. We're based in the UK, the US, and Hong Kong, and we offer a full range of services to help you with Bitrix24. So starting off with pre-sale support, so we can discuss your requirements in detail and really help you with your evaluation of the Bitrix24 system. If you decide the system is the correct product, then we can help you with your implementation requirements, so we can build out the Bitrix24 system so it works exactly how you need it to work. If you're interested in the self-hosted edition, we can provide our own hosting services for you. And we can also provide training and ongoing dedicated support to help you get the most value out of your Bitrix24 system. Okay, so if you have come to today's Perfect Project Management webinar, maybe as a brand new user to Bitrix, or if you are currently evaluating this system, I think it's important just to understand a little more about what Bitrix24 actually is. So Bitrix24 is a collaboration suite of well in excess now of 35 different tools that you can use to help you in managing your business. And today specifically, we're going to be looking at how we can manage projects inside the Bitrix24 system. Now, there are over 10 million customers around the world that use the Bitrix24 system. And in terms of the editions that Bitrix24 is available in, we have both the Bitrix24 Cloud and the Bitrix24 self-hosted solution. And we will, today in the webinar, we will cover some of the key differences between the cloud and the self-hosted system for your project management requirements. In terms of pricing, so prices start from approximately $49 per month for a cloud-based system, and for a self-hosted system, that starts with the Business 50 edition, which is $2,990. It is called a lifetime license, but every year there is a subscription to be paid, so you have to renew your self-hosted edition license to continue having access to the systems. And the renewal fee on the self-hosted is approximately 25% of the license fee. So you'd be looking on a Business 50, that's around $747.50 for your renewal each year. Okay, so today's Perfect Project Management webinar, we're going to be focusing on the tools within Bitrix24 that we can use to manage our projects and tasks inside the system. So before we go into depth to look at how we can create projects in the system, it's important to understand why you should and you can use Bitrix24 for your project. So we're going to be looking at how we can create project work groups inside the system so we can store all of the relevant information about a project in its own secure closed section of the Bitrix24 system. And within those project work groups, we can manage all of our tasks inside there. So it has a really powerful task management system. And with that feature, you're able to, we'll see, create automations as we progress tasks through different stages. You can automate actions at different stages of your tasks in the system. There are workload management tools, so you can use the involvement charts to actually see what tasks people are working on at any given time. So that can help you in terms of planning future task allocations across your different teams and departments. And we have powerful Gantt chart views to analyze the progress of our tasks in projects. And we have bespoke reporting tools. So there is a project reporting wizard, so we can build our very own reports from scratch. And a really nice feature within Bitrix24 is the ability to actually use the external user feature. And this is a powerful tool a lot of our customers use, because what you can do is you can invite your third parties, such as clients, could be your suppliers, into specific projects inside your Bitrix24 system. And you can have an unlimited number of external users in your projects. So that's a really powerful feature of the Bitrix24 system. And there's no additional cost for your external users on the system. And we'll take a look later on in today's webinar at what the view would look like for your external users. So you don't need to worry about actually the permissions and security side of this feature, because they do not have access to any of your internal information or data. So you don't need to be concerned around that feature itself. So we'll take a look at that in more detail. Okay, so first of all, in today's webinar, let's take a look at how we can actually create a new project inside the Bitrix24 system, how we can invite people into that project, and then we'll take a look at a project that is currently being worked on, and we'll see the different modules and features of the project management group feature. And then we'll see as well how we can communicate directly inside the project and chat with the team. And we'll look at some of the calendar and document sharing tools as well. So let's now go into our Bitrix24 system. So first of all, let's take a look at how we can actually create a new project inside our Bitrix24 system. And the way we're going to do this today, it's exactly the same between both the cloud and the on-premise system. So first of all, we need to go on the left-hand side here. We want to go to our work groups module. And within here, what you can see, first of all, are all of the existing projects and work groups inside your system. So if I was to filter through here, I can use the filtering tool to drill down to specific projects. So you've got a filtering and universal search tool there. So if we have clients, for example, who have thousands of projects inside their Bitrix24 system, you want to be able to easily search through all of that information. And the filtering tool here gives you the control there to drill down into your projects very quickly and easily. And on the right-hand side here, you can see any recently opened projects where you've entered those projects. We have a nice, easy linkage tab here to be able to enter those projects like so. But let's see how we can create a brand new project. Let's say we've got a new client on board, the sales team have won a new deal. So what we want to do is now create a new project, bring a group of people together from our technical team to start working on the client's project. So I need to create a new project inside our Bitrix24 system. Okay, so let's go to the create button here. So in the top right hand corner, this will open up your project design page. Now, first of all, it's important just to understand the difference here between the two options that we have been given. So we're going to create a project inside the system. So I'm going to be selecting the project type. The key difference here between project and work group is that with a project, you have a start date and an end date on that project. So you have specific time parameters on the system. And then following that, what we can then do is we can create tasks inside the project. And those tasks must have an end date that is within the end date of the project. You can't have a task go beyond the end date of the project. So you have very set time parameters. And with the work group feature, the key difference there is you do not have to have any time parameters. So a work group does not need to have a start date and it doesn't need to have an end date. So you have that difference there. That is the key difference. So a lot of people will have a work group for each department inside their organization, where you can have your own separated areas inside the system where you can communicate, store information, maybe create tasks in that department. But because it's a department, there simply is no start and end date to a department. It is just what it is. So that would be a work group. Whereas a project, when you've got set time parameters, you can create your time parameters on the project. So let's go into the project. First of all, this opens up the About project page. So we need to, first of all, give that project a name inside the system here. So let's give the project a title. Okay, so we're going to call this Interface Webinar Planning Project. If you want to, for when people come into the project, you can add a description. Okay, and then we can also add a theme. So the theme is essentially the background that will be displayed on your project. So let's select the background there. By the way, you can also create a custom theme. So if you want to have your kind of corporate branding on the project, you could use the custom theme button to upload your own background there. And we can also have an icon, which will show on the project. So here we can select an icon for the project itself. Okay, moving down there, just to show what we did there, we clicked here in the extend parameters. This is going to open up the next layer of settings on the project. And this is where we just mentioned there about the project and work groups, the key difference. Here you see this. So here we have the project date. So we can select the start date and the end date for this project. So if creating a plan for our 2023 webinar, so I'm going to say we can have till the end of January here to get this completed. And then we can have a subject. Okay, so a subject this can be useful for reporting purposes. So we can filter based on those subjects inside the system here. And for filtering, we can also use tags as well. So if you wanted to add a tag on the project, you could select a tag for your reporting requirements. Okay, so there we've added our dates for the project, and now you can see the features aspect of our settings for the project. So this is a really nice feature within Bitrix24. What you can essentially do here is you can customize what features you want to enable for every single project that you run inside your Bitrix24 system. So let's say, for example, I know we're going to be managing tasks on our project. So I'm going to tick the tasks feature, and I want to be able to have instant chats with the rest of the project team to make sure everyone is communicating in a timely manner. So I'm going to select the chats, and I want to store documents as well. So I'm going to turn on the Drive module. So you can completely customize what features are available on your project. And you may have another project that has every feature enabled. It's completely customizable to each project you create. Now, you don't need to be concerned there about what if I miss something, or if I wanted to actually enable the calendar feature as well. As the actual administrator and also as a moderator, which we'll look at in a second, you could set permissions. So what we can do is once the project has started, we can still come back into the settings here and turn on and turn off different features. So you don't need to do this all at the start. You can come back in here and decide and really adapt to the project as the project is moving through different phases. Now, we mentioned at the start, one of the benefits of Bitrix24 is this external user feature. So again, what we could do is we could turn on the external user feature here. So what we are essentially allowing here is opening up this project to be accessible by people external to your Bitrix24 system. So as I say, if we're creating here a client project, I can turn on that external user feature. And now what I can do is I can invite my customer into their project so they can collaborate with us, communicate, see what stages we're at with all the tasks that we're working on for them. So that's a really nice feature that we can enable. And later on, we're going to actually look at some of the benefits of the on-premise edition. Now, with the on-premise system, what we can do when that customer comes to their portal to log into their project, we can actually rebrand that portal. So you could have your own corporate branding on the system. So you can really make it look like your own almost internal project management tool that you could then invite your customers into. So let's just confirm that inside the system here. We can then choose our privacy in terms of how accessible do you want to make this in your Bitrix24 system. So if it's public, this will display inside your work groups module for anyone to be able to see. If it's private, this means you have to be given access by invitation only. And if it's secret, it will not be visible at all in your workgroups module. Only the administrators of the project itself can invite people into that project. Now, within the project, we can set different layers of management. So here in the team members section, what we can do is we can essentially have 3 different layers of management. So first of all, we have the project owner. So usually this would be the person who is actually creating the project. You can edit this. So if you wanted to change who is actually the owner, that's fine. You can do so. Then we have this middle layer, which is the project moderators. Okay, so this is really your middle layer of management. And we'll see when we go into the project, what we can do here is we can then really control, based on these different layers, who is then able to actually maybe edit and have specific permissions inside the project. So we may say, for example, as we're adding other users to the project so we can see the rest of the project team, we may say the owner and the moderators are able to add new tasks onto the project, but any other team members are not able to add any additional people to that project. So sorry, to add additional tasks to the project. So that's really a key aspect to bear in mind as you are creating your project. And again, this can be adapted as you're evolving the project. You can change to those moderators and add additional team members to the project as well. Okay, so we've just created that project. So you can see here at the top, we can see the tasks area has been created, so has the drive. And I'm just going to bring in the chat feature here. So those features that we have enabled on the project, you can see those inside the system here. And if we go into the project as well, we can see all of the team members as well that are being synced into this project. So that's really how easy it is to create a new project inside your Bitrix24 system. And now what we can do is, if you can see that there, if we drill down into our projects, you can see the interface webinar planning project is now available inside our workgroup system. But what we'll do now is let's take a look at a project really that is already being worked on, so we can see what a project looks like that is currently in progress. So here we have what we call our BizTech project. So we've entered the project and this has opened up the task management feature within the project. So we can see all of the tasks that are currently being worked on inside our BizTech project. But before we look at tasks in more detail, I just want to go back into the permissions section, because as we were creating that project earlier on, we looked at the project owner, the moderators and the additional users. And I just want to show you why that is important to get that allocation of staffing correct on your project. Because here in the permissions, so if I just go back out here to show you again, if you click on the About Project, and then if we go to the role and permissions, inside here, we can then customize the permissions across every element of this project, and it is specific to this BizTech project. So you can completely customize permissions across every single project that you work on. So for example, as we mentioned there, what you may say, for example, is actually who is able to create new tasks in this project. So here we have the permission to create tasks. I'm going to say it's only the project owner that can create tasks. So you can see there how we can completely control permissions based on those different layers of management. Or I may say actually all project participants are able to create tasks. So you can control here who is able to do so. And a very popular permission is actually who's able to invite people into a project. So here we're saying project owners and moderators are able to create and invite new people to the project. You don't want every single user in the project to be able to invite someone, because you have no control then over who is accessing that project in the system. So that's just to give you a flavor of how really granular you can create your permissions inside your project. So it's a really useful tool to be able to use inside your Bitrix24 system. Okay, so now let's take a look at the task management feature within the project now in some more detail. So you can see here inside the project, the tasks area is really the key focal point of our project. And in terms of how we can create tasks to go into our project, first of all, you have the new task button here. So I can click on there and it will open up the new task page. So I can now start populating the new tasks that need to be added to this project. So let's say we're scoping out the plan. And then within here, you can add more details about the task. And that could include adding documents. So if you wanted to upload files that are associated with this task, I could add those into the system here or connect from the Bitrix drive. I can then choose who's responsible for the task and add additional participants. So you have a responsible person for a task, but then we could also add additional participants who are also going to be working on that task. And then you can set time parameters. So inside here, what we can do is set a deadline for the task and when we're expecting to start that task in the system here. Now, rather than having to actually manually add all of this information, so another nice feature is the ability to add checklists. So there may be several different items that need to be completed on the task. So you can add all of those different items into the task here. But what's really useful is the ability to actually turn on the repeat task mode. And a lot of our clients do use this feature. So let's say, for example, you're an accountancy firm. We have quite a few accountancy firms who use the Bitrix24 system to manage their tasks. And you probably have then tasks that are repeated every month for month-end reporting. So here what we could do is we could return the repeat feature on. And then every month at a specific time period, even choose what day that task would be automatically recreated. You could have that task automatically repeated inside the system. So that can save you a lot of time rather than having to manually enter this information. And what you can also do, once you have entered the information once, we could turn on the save as a template button, because then what I could do is I could simply go into here and select that template, and it will populate all of the information into the task for me as well. So the repeat task mode and task templates are really useful to save you time when adding new tasks to your projects. Okay, and in terms of task management inside the system, we can view tasks in a variety of ways. So first of all, we have the list view. So inside here, we can see all of the tasks associated to this project in this list view. And as an administrator here, I can customize the view of this page. I can filter through this information. So I might want to see all of the tasks that are currently maybe overdue, for example. So you can use the filtering tool in really powerful ways to drill down into your task information. So you could have hundreds of tasks in a project. That filtering tool is going to become really invaluable to make sure you're focused on what tasks need to be prioritized. Another nice feature within here is, and we'll see how we can use focused communication, so you can comment on tasks. If somebody leaves a comment on a task, you can see we've got some counters at the top here. So if a comment is left on a task, it will automatically update here. So when a comment is left, you could filter on the comments feature, and it will simply show you all of those tasks where new comments have been added. So that's a really nice feature. That's quite new to the Bitrix24 project management features. So this is looking at your tasks in a list view, but as you can see here, there's a variety of ways we can view tasks in the system. So if we go to a Kanban view, here, essentially, this is the Kanban for your project. So what we can do in here is create the stages that we want to use for this particular project. So you can personalize this Kanban view for every project that you are working on. And then I can progress our tasks through those different stages like so. We also have the deadline view. And I would say this is probably my favorite view for managing tasks inside Bitrix, because when we add deadlines on our tasks, Bitrix24 will automatically place that task in its correct time slot based on that deadline. So I can really, this is just really useful for prioritizing what needs to be worked on in your project. So I can see 2 tasks overdue here. I can see what is due today, what's currently due next week, and what's over 2 weeks away. So you can, in terms of kind of prioritizing workloads, this view really helps you instantly analyze all of the tasks inside your project. So I can know I need to start working on these tasks and get these completed and over the line soon. And in any of these views, you can click into those tasks. So I can see all of the information. This opens up the task page. I can see all of the data about that task. And if I need to come in and start working on a task, I can start recording time like so. And each task page has its own area for communication. So I can communicate with my colleagues. So I know Lucy's helping with this task, and I can then leave a comment on this task for Lucy to view. So you can have very controlled and focused communications on every single task you're working on. This saves the need for having endless email chains where you're just going to get lost about what is the latest update on a new task. The comments page here is really invaluable to save you time and see the latest conversations that are taking place on every single task inside your project. Okay, so I'm going to add that information into our task here. And I'm just going to save that, and Lucy will receive that as a notification now, and she'll be able to reply inside the task there. Okay, so that's a look at the deadline. And again, in all of these views, you have the filtering system to drill down into any particular tasks within the views. There is a planner view. So the key difference here, the planner view is your own personal project management view, really. So inside here, I could create different stages, and this doesn't impact on anyone else inside the project. Each person can have their own personalized planner view of their tasks. There's also a calendar view looking at, say, the deadlines of tasks, and there's a Gantt chart view here, which is a really nice view. So you get that kind of high level overview here of all of your tasks. You can see where the deadlines are on those tasks. I can see what's overdue, and I can then again open up those tasks directly through the task page there. So there's a lot of different ways you can manage your tasks inside the system. And just before we go into look at some of the other features of the BizTech project, I just want to show you that's really looking at one individual project. But then what we can do is if we go into our tasks and projects module, you can then see all of those different views of tasks for every single project that you're working on. So here is the BizTech project we're currently in, seeing all those tasks. But then I can see the mega project here and the tasks associated with that project. I can see our interface project there. So you can then have that high level overview when we go into the task and project module. Whereas what we're currently working on here is that lower level individual project view. So you can see how scalable this is from having that low level view for every project, but your managers will maybe want to use that tasks and project high level overview to analyze every single project in the system. Okay, some of the other features within the projects, we have a feed section. So this is like your own kind of personal messaging intranet board for this particular project. So inside here, you can send communications to the rest of the project team. Okay, so I'm going to send this message to the rest of the project team. They can communicate back on that particular project there. So I'm just going to show you quickly here. If we're going to look at this as another user on the project, you can see they can view that message that I have just submitted to the rest of the team, and they can communicate back on that project. So you can see how collaboration is so easy using the tools within the Bitrix24 project management system here. And I can now see that message. We also have a drive area. So inside here, if you want to store documents or files associated with the project, we can add all of this information in the system. And what I really like about this feature is we can set permissions. So even though this is really accessible for the team, I could actually set permissions as to who is able to access specific documents inside this project. So if I just now go back to look at this as an external user on this project, then what we can do is if we go into our project and if we go into the drive area, you can see here this user can only see 2 documents. Whereas if we go into our administrator, well, I can see a lot more documents and a lot more folders. So again, permission wise, you can really control what different people can see inside your projects. We also have a calendar. So if you want to book meetings and events associated with the projects, we can see all of that information in a calendar view here. And we have the chat feature. So this is a really nice tool within projects. What we can do is we can have instant chats with the rest of the project team. You can also do HD video calls and live phone calls as well with the rest of the team. So the tools within Bitrix24 really allow you to make sure everyone within that project is communicating at the right time, so you don't miss any up-to-date critical information across the projects that you are associated with. Okay, so that's a look there at the project groups inside the system. Let's just see if there are any questions. If you have any questions, please do add them into the question box and we can run through those during the intervals of today's webinar. So let's just see if we have any questions that have come in. Okay, so question here, is there a limit to the number of external users that I can have on a specific project? So no, there is no limit. You can have as many external users in a project or across different projects as you require. There is no limit. And also there's no cost as well for that feature. As long as you have a commercial cloud license or an on-premise edition of Bitrix, you can have an unlimited number of external users on your project. Okay, if there are any other questions, please do add them into the question box. We can keep running through those. So what we've looked at so far is how actually we can create a project in a very manual way. So we saw how we could add the details about that project, how we could also add all the users to the project. But what you might want to do within Bitrix is actually automate the creation of that project inside the system. And I want to show you a way that we could do this, which is a very standard use case really that a lot of people would want to create a project inside the system. So let's say our sales team have just completed a new order inside the CRM area of our Bitrix24 system. What we could do is actually create an automation which automatically creates a new project group inside our project management area of Bitrix24, which brings specific people and creates specific tasks that need to be completed. And the way we do this is using what we call the Business Process Designer tool. So inside here, what we can do is at a certain stage of the deal. So we're going to do this when the deal is marked as won. You could run this at any stage, essentially. It doesn't have to be at the one stage. It could be at any stage of your sales process. We're creating a workflow here. So we automatically create a new project inside the system, and we bring specific people to come into this project. And then here we have specific tasks that we know need to be completed. So these are going to be automatically added to the project. And the way we're doing this is using the different attributes here on the right-hand side. So I can add new tasks into the workflow here. Now, we're not going to go into too much detail about the actual Business Process Designer tool, as we do have webinars where we go through this in detail, and we can discuss any workflows you require and maybe need some help with. But essentially, let's just save this inside the system here. And we go into one of our deals. So inside here, we're in our pipeline. If I go into one of our deals, for example, I'm going to progress this deal to the deal 1 stage. And let's just add our items into this deal. And we can see now, if we can see an automation has been completed inside the system. So if we now go back into our work groups feature, let's just take this filter off. We can see that deal has automatically created a new project inside the system. So it's automatically just been created. And if we go into the task management area, that has automatically created those tasks that we need to be working on inside the system here. And that's been allocated to specific people that we now need to complete inside the system. So that's one way there. We can automate the creation of that project inside the system. So that could save you an awful lot of time, saving you from manual processing, and also save you from human error, essentially. You can use this Bitrix system to automate those processes for you. So that's a really powerful area. Now, that workflow designer tool within the CRM system, you need to just be careful, because it is only accessible on at least the professional cloud license and all on-premise editions. If you have a basic cloud or a standard cloud license, you don't have access to that functionality. So I just want to make you aware of that. So that's just something to bear in mind. If you like the look of that feature, then you will need to have at least a professional cloud license. And another way we can actually automate processes within projects and tasks is actually using automation rules on the stages of tasks inside our system. So we looked at earlier on within our BizTech project how we can create different stages for our Kanban view to progress our tasks. Now, what we can do at those different stages is we can create automated rules for our employees, and also we can create triggers. So at different stages, as you're progressing tasks, we can have automatic actions take place to help to streamline your tasks inside the system. So first of all, I just want to explain what a trigger will do. So a trigger can automatically update what stage that task is at. So there are a variety of different stages that we can trigger here. And for example, here on this example, and this is a really nice example to use. For example, what we can say here is when the task becomes overdue, so if that task is not completed by its deadline, it then is marked as overdue. So whatever stage that task is at, we're creating a trigger here, so it will automatically update the stage of that task to urgent. Doesn't matter what stage it's currently at, once it's overdue, it will become marking as urgent. And when we mark it as urgent, we've got an automation here. So we're changing who is responsible for that task to this specific person. So that could be the senior manager who can then start to try and get this task back on track. And we might want to actually set up or move a notification to go to the rest of the team as well, so they're aware that this task has now become overdue on this project. So you can start to see how using the project automation tools and then these task automation tools can streamline so many areas of your projects inside Bitrix24, and also just simply save you time, manual time that you would be spending otherwise trying to keep up to date on all of these projects. This time can then be used on other areas of other projects to make sure you can keep every project on track inside your Bitrix24 system. Okay, so let's look there at the automation rules, and moving on, we've covered this quite heavily already in terms of the Extranet feature. So this is where you can have an external portal area for your Bitrix24 system where you can invite your clients and third parties, essentially anyone who is not a user on your Bitrix24 internal system. And what we can do is you can have an external portal where we can invite your third parties, and with the self-hosted edition, that where they log in to access their projects, you can actually customize this so you can have your own branding, and so that could be your own corporate branding you have on the system. So that could be really, really valuable for you if you're inviting, new clients to actually access their own project. You could have a branded login page where they're logging into the system, so that could look really professional for you. And then within the Extranet site, we can then give that user access to the specific projects that they are associated to. So you can see on the left-hand side here, the key difference is that menu. So here, we're not able to access any of those internal task and project management areas. I can't access any other projects that I'm not associated with. They will just have access to what you invite them into, which is a specific project or maybe a few projects that they are working on with you. So in terms of security, it is a totally secure feature of the Bitrix24 system. And it's a very popular feature as well, because then within here, we can enable this user to communicate with us. They can manage the tasks that maybe they're responsible for, or if they're wanting to be able to keep up to date on where you are at with those tasks, they can see all of this information on the project as well. So this is a really nice feature. And as we say, you can have an unlimited number of Extranet users on your projects. Okay, so let's just see if there are any other questions that have come in. Okay, so I see, yep, there are a few questions here that have come in. So can a user be notified by email? So depends exactly what the notification is for. Is that, for example, if say they are being allocated to a new task, then yes, absolutely, you can set up how you receive notifications on Bitrix. So inside your profile area here, what you can do is you have a notifications settings area. And then inside here, if you click on the advanced mode, you can then customize here, first of all, where those notifications go to. So internally in Bitrix, as an email notification, and also as a push notification to your mobile device. And you can then turn on and turn off the different functionality for actually how you are receiving those notifications. So let's say here, for example, when a task is assigned to me, I'm receiving those as an internal notification and as an email notification. But I could also turn on the mobile notification as well. So you want to go into the advanced mode here and actually access all of those different features. Okay, another question, can I set in a task a billable activity? So when you say that, is that where you want to actually roll up time to generate an invoice? Is that what you're thinking there? I think is, if you have any more details, do let me know. So essentially you can record time on tasks inside the system as standard. That doesn't then roll up to create an invoice. Now we have customized the system, so it is possible. So here we can build bespoke customizations. Say for example, here we're logging time on a task. That time can then be rolled up, and we could, using a slight customization, generate an invoice based on that time that has been rolled up in the system. So if that's something you are interested in, please do contact us afterwards, and we can then discuss your requirements in more detail. Okay, the project as a cost. So each activity should be billable. Well, yeah, so a standard, no. Inside here, you can record time on each task inside the system, but it doesn't become then billable. But we can do, just require some small customization to actually make those tasks then billable for, say, a specific client. Okay, so yeah, if you contact sales@intraface.com after the webinar, we can just discuss your requirement in some more detail and also show you how that can be managed inside Bitrix24. Okay, so just briefly to mention some of the self-hosted benefits, and we have mentioned a few already. So first of all, you can have a branded portal. So when you're inviting your external users into the system, we've seen here how you can have a branded portal where they can log into the system. So you have that very clean and professional look when you're adding your customers into the system. There's also advanced automation. So we could use the API to trigger an automation from an external system, for example, or use some of the advanced source code to actually build bespoke pages within your project. So if you wanted to maybe have some customizations, we could create those using the source code with the self-hosted system. And also that kind of brings you down to the bespoke dashboards that we could also create inside a self-hosted edition. Because we have access to the source code, it gives you that greater layer of customization that's available on the self-hosted edition. Okay, so here are a selection of the up and coming webinars that we have. We're here every other Tuesday at 11 AM Eastern time. If you do want to register for those, there is our link here, which is intraface.com/webinars. And in summary, from today's Perfect Project Management webinar, we've seen how we can use project management tools for managing all of the projects that we're working on inside the Bitrix24 system, and how you can drill down into those projects very easily using the filtering tools. I think what's important to mention as well is how you see how we can manage a project at a very low level where we're inside that project, but then we can go to that very high level inside the tasks and project management module to actually see across all of the different projects we're working on. So you have both of those views for the standard users and your administrators. And a really important feature to take away from today is how we can collaborate with everyone else within that project using lots of different tools, such as chat, video, telephony, sending out posts, and actually integrating our external clients into those projects for full collaboration. And we've seen how we can automate processes, such as automating the creation of projects to save you time and reduce any errors on creating information. And then we have that high-level reporting tool available inside our project tools. So thank you for joining today. I hope you found the Perfect Project Management webinar useful, and I look forward to joining you on our next webinar in 2 weeks' time. If you have any questions in the meantime, please do contact us, sales@interface.com. One of our team will be happy to book a call with you to discuss your requirements in more detail. Thank you for your time today. Bye for now.